But so if they can just go willy-nilly like, oh, that mom's on drugs without actually testing for drugs. They can say it, but doesn't the court have to like back it up to be enforced?
Okay, we're back. I'm attorney Vincent Davis. This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Amanda Cisco and Aaron Carranza. Ladies, we're going to take another call. We got Carissa back. Carissa from the Bay Area. Did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. I have a little bit of both.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I called in about a few weeks ago about my soon-to-be ex-husband. I filed for divorce for. I've had ongoing DV with him. Well, I've been trying to get rid of the social worker that we have because she is biased and discriminatory, and she will not listen to me at all because I only have supportive services, which she stated several times. This recent incident that happened stemmed from one of our visits. After the visit, my husband followed me and he honked his horn, almost driving me off the road. Then he dropped him off the week after, honking his horn out of the parking lot. And I filed a police report weeks later because I didn't really know what to do and I wanted this documented. So I went down to the baby police station and they said I couldn't file it there because it was domestic. I needed to call the non-emergency number. So I decided to go back to the plaza where we have our visits. This was not on the day of our visits. This was the day before. So I can try to document what happened because he has a restraining order against me. But I think it goes both ways. So I felt like I needed to call them so I can get this down on the record. I waited for them to come out. They came out like an hour or so later, and I was kind of tired that day. I had just got off of work, and I guess I didn't have my story together correctly. They ended up talking to the social worker who happened to be there, even though it was like 6 p.m. I didn't know they were going to go and try to interview her. So after I get the report back, she said that I am a victim of narcotics addiction, that my drug of choice was most likely to be crystal methamphetamine. She also stated that my child has been transported by the city, always transported by the city that the court set up transportation for, which is not true. And then it goes on to say that my suspected erratic behavior was due to my ongoing narcotics addiction, and my narcotic of choice was likely to be crystal methamphetamine. Hold on a second.
Ma'am?
Did she say, hold on a second? That's why I was going to jump in. Can they and do they are two different things, but so if they can just go willy-nilly like, oh, that mom's on drugs without actually testing for drugs, they can say it, but doesn't the court have to like back it up to be enforced?
Well, generally, if you're going to have a trial or something, but usually prior to trials, social workers make all kinds of allegations. Some of them not based in fact, well. Some not based in fact. Now, if you can prove that it was done fraudulently or maliciously, you can bring a civil rights case. But if they made a mistake, just simple negligence, you probably can't sue them.
Well, what if, say, they refuse to acknowledge, like, doctors and pharmacists saying, oh, no, this person does not have a drug problem, and their CPS is like, oh, well, we think she does.
Well, it's going to be left for them to prove at the time of trial. So this is what I want to tell you. And you and I had this discussion a few days ago. Look, a social worker can say anything, do anything they want. Okay? We allow them to do that because they're protecting kids. If they can't prove it in court, or if they did it maliciously and they're just lying, you do have a remedy. You can sue them for 42 USC 1983 violations, civil rights violations. So, people always ask me, including you, can they do this? Yeah, they can do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I should be more, as kind of a facetious, like, can they? But it seems to me that she called the police to file a police report. And then out of nowhere, they're like, oh, she has a drug problem.
Right.
So my next question for her was going to be like, have you ever had a drug problem? Have you had drug tests but it just seems like they just throw it and see what sticks, the mental instability and then the drug abuse just right away.
Well, sometimes I get that impression, either they want to just throw it and see what sticks, or they really believe it, or they're just making up stuff. And it's probably different in every case.
Yeah.
Have I ever thought a social worker told something that wasn't true intentionally? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, one admitted to me on a videotape deposition that she knowingly lied.
Is this the one that got promoted? She fell on the sword for the department?
Correct. She's now a supervisor. But
that's mind-boggling.
But do I think social workers say things sometimes and they make an honest mistake? Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
They're people, right?
Now, what can you do if someone files a false claim against you? Because that's supposed to be illegal. You're not supposed to be able to call CPS and file, lies and get people's kids taken away. Is there some remedy for a parent that's been through that?
Maybe. It depends. It's very, very fact specific. Because first of all, if I call on you and say, Erin's a danger to her kid, the fact that I called is supposed to be confidential. You're not ever supposed to find out that it was me that called on you. So how would you ever sue me? You're not supposed to know that I did it. Right?
What if it was a family member?
Well, how do you know?
I don't know. It's just a question that one of our viewers asked. But if someone called it on and false allegations, is there any kind of? Well, I mean, I know my husband was the one that called on me because he told me. But is there? So you're not supposed to know because they're supposed to be
confidential,
anonymous, right?
But
do they ever come out? Who's done it? Who's called on them? Does anyone ever find out?
Rarely. But here's the thing, let's say your husband made a false report, knowingly made a false report. Can you sue him? Probably. What if he, but remember, how do you prove that? You got to get into his mind. What if he comes forward and he testifies, well, that's what I really thought because of this, that, and the other. Then it's up to a jury and a judge to decide. Right. So that can a social worker do anything? This or that? Yes, they can.
Right. Of course they can.
Right. Yes, they can. I think we lost Carissa.
Yeah.
From Carissa.
Did we lose Amanda too?
No, Amanda's there.
No, here.
Okay. Your phone I keep thinking I hear you and then it goes out, but we're all together.
Oh no,
okay.
Were you going to say something else, Erin?
I hear a lot of how do I correct this wrong? I know that it was a lie and so it has to be I'm typing an answer back to the group page that has to be very fact specific.
Yes. If you notice that if you notice when you talk to people and they're telling you their CPS story or they're asking for some type of information or advice, I notice this a lot. People aren't very specific. They're very general.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, when you ask them about it, they get defensive. Today somebody told me blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, how do you know that? right? Because, I'm thinking, well, I go to court, I'm going to have to prove this. I can't just put her on the stand and say, you know what, I feel it in my heart, I feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
Right? That's not going to
I
stand
had a dream.
up. Right. Right. By the way, I've had people tell me, I know that because I dreamt it. Or I know that because God told me. No, I'm a religious person, and maybe God did tell them, but that's not going to work in court.
It's not going to hold up in a court of law.
Right. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. But you got to have some evidence, right? You got to be able to feel it, touch it, hear it, smell it. The five senses type of thing.
Right.
Hey, we got to take a break right now. This is The Secret: How to Fight CPS and Win. We'll be right back after these messages.